What's that, Boosey?
I've just been. I got back. I went from Thursday to Saturday to Arizona for the Chapter Leadership Summit. Turning Point USA is one of the chapter leaders.
Oh, mate. Hold on. You'll have to. Oh, what is that then? What is that? That's the Hell's Angels, yeah?
No.
What is it?
Turning Point USA.
No.
The conservative. It's fast. No. Charlie Kirk.
No. Blimey, how ignorant. No. Is it a Tea Party spin-off?
Youth organisation and fastest growing student organisation in the US.
Cool. Well, look, we will talk about that a bit because we need solutions. We need solutions, people. Coming up in 9 minutes' time. 9 minutes' time with old Chris Boosey and Timothy Otto Hill. Chris, could you do us a favour and bung Timothy the link? Because I don't know whether he's got it or not. Anyway, folks, if you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward. What is it today? Bill and Jeff's Sex Slave Adventure. Yeah, right. David Curtin coming in tomorrow, running for mayor, and so is this bloke singing now, Kelvin McKenzie. Not Kelvin McKenzie, oh, for crying out loud. Winston McKenzie. McKenzie, running for mayor.
And the stars in the sky don't mean nothing to you there on the moon. I don't wanna talk about it. How you broke my heart. If I stay just a little bit longer, if I stay here, won't you listen to my heart? Whoa, if I stand all alone, well, you gotta hide the color of my heart. For the tears, for the night, the stars in the sky don't mean nothing to you. Around me, I see the stars in the sky. I don't wanna talk about it. How you broke my heart. If I stay just a little bit longer. If I stay here, won't you listen to my heart? Whoa, my heart.
dailychaos.news /show, folks. It looks like, I don't know, somebody's got their knickers in a twist over there. Swanee, it is up to me, actually. It is up to me. The bottom line is that the chat room at that page, I didn't set it up so that it could be like, I don't know, a girly night in Ibiza, a hen party or something like that. It was supposed to be, do you realise the situation that we are in right now? We are within a year of civil war and you're having a bloody hen party in the chat room.
I don't wanna talk about you broke my heart. If I stay here just a little bit longer, if I stay here, won't you listen my heart. Whoa, my heart. My heart.
Cheers to Dave Fergie. Copyright free, yeah, Nick. Dave Fergie and Liverpool Beat. Do 2 minutes, people. 2 minutes.
I
Hey folks, good evening, good people, and welcome to the Daily Lighting Problem. Ordo chao, know what I mean? I'm Olly Connelly, thanks for turning up. And now, Bill and Jeff's excellent sex-slaving adventure. Just not according to the mainstream media. Imagine if it was Trump. Imagine if it was Trump who'd been on Pedo Island, yeah? They would be all over him. What is the difference? Clinton, wife Clinton, yeah? Wanting to run for president just last time round, and wanted to was mooting for it this time round. Where is the media? Where is the media? What's the deal with the media? And social media, by the way. What is the difference now? What is the difference? I tell you, I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. It's just gone absolutely berserk. It is just so clear. They don't give a damn about the truth or any semblance of balance. Here to give us a stateside view on what's going on is Chris Boosey and hopefully Timothy Otto Hill popping in too from Portland. Boosey in California. Oh, you know, Chris, I am absolutely dumbstruck by the fact that the media is so brazen. Just more and more. Every week is worse than the last in terms of the lies and the lack of balance, the deceit. We don't really have any statistics regarding this coronavirus thing that we can say, oh yeah, that justifies what's going on with the lockdown, for example. You know, where I live in Valencia in Spain, everybody's walking around with masks on. And we're right next to the beach, right next to the sea with that sea breeze, and there's people walking along the seashore with a mask on. And the reason they're doing it is because they are genuinely scared. They are scared. Because that is what the media has done. Despite the fact that if the media was honest, they would be asking the questions, why is the CDC telling us that these antibody tests that have now put the figures up through the roof, they've admitted you can be testing positive if you've ever had a common cold. In the UK, we've got the government advising doctors, if in doubt, put COVID-19 on the death certificate. If in doubt, just put it on there. We're hearing now that hospitals in the United States, if they don't mark up deaths as being COVID-19 related, they are being denied funds. Where is this in the mainstream media questioning? What is the truth? What is really, really going on? What can we believe? What can we not believe? Because people are going to die of poverty. Probably already are. I hate to think how many people have topped themselves because they've lost their business or their job or whatever. Hate to think. That's only going to get worse. We are going to see, it seems to me, more people die of poverty than of COVID-19. Where is the balance? Where's the debate? We've got a former president of the United States whose wife still hankers for the presidency, caught or allegedly hanging out with two sex slaves on Pedo Island. Where's the coverage? Where's the coverage? Oh yeah, down the running order, maybe in the Daily Mail. That's about it. That's about it. I just find it amazing. We've got stormtroopers on the streets of London. They look like, I don't know, they look like Oswald Mosley's brown shirts from the 30s or something, except they're now in London on the streets and they're doing a drill like, you know, tension, all that stuff. in uniform. It's illegal. It's illegal. My guest tomorrow, who's running for Mayor of London, he bothered to put out a post to point out that it was illegal what they were doing. And his post, when I tried to share it, I got a warning from Facebook saying, you're not allowed to share this because we've had reports that it's somehow abusive because it points out the law. I put the post out anyway. I copied and posted it and got an immediate ban to posting to all groups on Facebook. You're not even allowed to spread the truth. It is true. Facebook fact checkers, it is true. What was in that post was absolutely 100% true and not hateful. What we're seeing on the streets of London now, for example, and in places like Portland and cities all over the United States of America is frightening. It's frightening. And you are saying we're not allowed to discuss it.
Well,
and we've got the mainstream media that is just ignoring it and telling us, oh, Meghan and Harry are awfully sad. They think they made a mistake. I don't care. Boosey, good evening, sir. I am angry. I am angry. I want people to have some fun in the chat room at dailychaos.news as well, by the way. And I hope we can have some fun on the show here too. But you know what? I seriously think that we are within months of a potential civil war. Whatever way that US election goes, whatever way it goes, the way it looks to me is that there is going to be an invoked civil war. I just find it incredibly frightening times that we've got to be absolutely dead serious and just be honest about what's going on. Yeah, try and have a laugh as well, for crying out loud, because you know what? Blitz spirit. And we've got to laugh. We're not going to cry. But we've also got to get real about what is going on right now in our world. And it is very, very frightening. Am I wrong, Chris? Am I somehow missing the point? Am I being dramatic?
Maybe a little bit, but not too much. And on your point on about them blocking you for stating the law, I had something similar on Twitter a few months back, and I was putting about how the governor was acting against depriving people of their civil liberties, contrary to Title 18 of Section 241 and 242 and of the US Code, and stated that we did, and if there were people that died as a result of this, that would mean that would have a death penalty, and the governor needs to be aware that he is acting in such a way that could end up having him find himself being executed. And I was actually kicked off of Twitter. I was actually banned from Twitter for a period for actually making threats of violence against the governor of California.
I'm sorry. Who could be executed for what?
The governor of California he's ruling California by fiat at the moment. There is no legislative process because of his power, his state powers. However, he has been infringing on U.S. constitutional rights, not state constitutional rights, because we kind of lose them all, but only the ones that are only in the state. There are U.S. constitutional rights he's not allowed to infringe on them. He is, and I was saying that anyone who actually committed, because he is by default committing these crimes, by the sentencing guidelines, if people die as a result of his deprivation of civil liberties, that deprivation of civil liberties becomes a capital offence, and he is subject to execution following a trial. And I put all that, and I made threats of violence against the governor for saying that.
Right.
When I was quoting the law.
Right. The bottom line with democratic states, Democrat-run states, it seems they've just gone off the rails. I mean, there was a story today, for example, that said the murder rate in the United States year on year is up 25%, give or take, at the moment. On what it was this time last year. It's gone up 25%. So much for George Floyd, yeah? 25%. How many tens or dozens or even hundreds of murders does that equate to? It's incredible. And it does seem to be that the vast majority of this escalation in violence is happening in Democrat states, New York, Chicago. Terrible times going on in Chicago and in New York, and in other Democrat states as well. They just seem to be using regular American citizens with a black, white, Democrat, Republican, whatever, as political cannon fodder. That is how it appears to me, Chris, that we are at now. That in this desperate attempt with this cornered tiger deep state cabal, they are doing everything they can to get rid of this president. And I just kind of feel that's what it's all about. But it is correct, is it not, that it is the Democratic states that are mostly off the rails here, that the Republican states are relatively normal, no? Or I don't want to misrepresent the facts here, so what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's even though they now have a Democratic governor, it's still very heavily red. I was in Arizona, and they've got a mask mandate there as well. However, it's very, very loosely enforced. You kind of it's not like you're going to get jumped on by someone for not wearing a mask. It's kind of there is a big difference, and which I'm really grateful of, because 120 Fahrenheit degree heat. Yeah, with a face mask you can stick that where you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not really human. And again, but I mean, we know the statistics are a lot of crock. I mean, there's no absolute 100% evidence that this is a good way to go with these masks and what have you. And arguably, they're just taking away our humanity and injuring our immune systems. I mean, it seems to me just incredible. But we are being now pushed on pretty much every front, and this doesn't look good where this is going.
No, I have a lingering cough at the moment that's come about, and I'm convinced that this lingering cough that I have is due to me constantly having to wear a face mask all the time. Because, I don't normally have a cough. It's not the weather for me to be going down with anything that's going to be setting me off. But I've constantly have this tickle in my throat, and a cough going. I'm having to. This is the insanity of it, because they're trying to say to people, "Oh, if you have a cough, you may have COVID, so you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the other." I'm actually taking not anything other than a cough suppressant just to try and stop me from coughing. Which is really, properly medicating, but it's what I've got to do, or else I wouldn't be able to work. I wouldn't be able to do anything, and it's all because of this mask. So, yeah, I'm looking at what's going on, and yeah,
it's mad. We've got Timothy Otto Hill popped in from Portland. Timothy, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello, mate. Thanks for coming in. What is going on now in Portland? Is it any sign of things calming down there, or are you on nigh on day 70 of back-to-back riots?
66, yeah. What they've done is they went ahead and made some kind of agreement with the Portland. I don't even think it's the Portland police. I think it's the state police, because the mayor is also the chief of police, so he's still not willing to comply. So the state troopers have come in to kind of make things. Basically, it's Governor Brown has released state troopers to kind of quell the disruption, and by doing that, she's also making it look like it's still Trump's guys, because these guys are coming in there and they're like, yeah, thank you, and they're just busting heads. So they've kind of quelled it, but they're still kind of making it look like it's Trump's guys knocking them around. But it's weird how they're spinning it.
And so okay. So what is the deal with that then? Basically, it seems to me from the outside looking in, and I'm being balanced here, people. Yeah, I'm being balanced. I'm not like a massive Trumpy, if you like. I just see a guy who wants to drain the swamp, who hasn't had the opportunity really to do it yet because he's had his arms tied behind his back. But some of us just want to see the swamp drained, whether it's Republican, Democrat, or what. And he's the only one that's been talking about doing it. And actually, they ain't got nothing on him. That Epstein thing, the FBI apparently, they tried to get their hooks into Trump, and they failed. They failed. Yep. They got nothing on the guy. And so I'm from the outside looking in. It seems to me that so far as where you're concerned, Timothy, you've got the state, as is the case with many Democrat states in the United States, have been encouraging, using the media even, to encourage this rioting, and even in the case of Seattle, taking over 6 square blocks, including the city hall, the Chaz zone, as was, and using this as a means to somehow destabilize politics, and a desperate measure to try to get Trump out in November.
Can I tell you what their plan is? Please. Plan, and this is what they'd like to do, because you can tell by the media how the polls are fake, and they're saying Biden's winning and Trump's losing, and the idea is to convolute the election to cause enough disruption to where there is no clear winner, and then Congress can step in when there's no clear winner and temporarily decide that would be Pelosi. So Pelosi would take over as acting president. And I believe that that's exactly what is, I've heard this is what their plan is, and I can kind of see it unfolding. So I believe this is what they're going to try and do. That it kind of explains how Biden is really just this kind of just holding a place until, this whole thing sort of carries out, and he's obviously he's not a viable candidate, and I really don't think it matters who his VP pick is. I think their plan is to put Pelosi in power.
So in other words, you're going to vote Democrat. You're essentially voting dementia, whether you get Biden or Pelosi. Seems to me that both of them need to be, I don't know, taken away from mainstream
Trump
politics.
Won't leave willingly. They're spreading that rumor that Trump won't accept the results of the election. So even if there's no clear winner, it's just I know what they're trying to do. You can tell what the media is doing. The media is trying to say that if they can steal it is what they're going to try to do. They're going to try and steal it and do enough voter fraud to where they can actually so they've sold it in the media, so if they go ahead and they can actually steal it, then it'll be believable, right? But if they can't steal it and it's a landslide, then they're going to try and convolute it enough to where there is no clear winner, so they can't decide, they can't count all the votes, or there's something unclear about who the winner is. And then Congress actually there's a law where Congress can actually step in and declare a temporary, and that would be Pelosi. She's the third in power behind Pence.
That's right. And so that would be down to the Congress men and women, not the Senate.
No.
Right.
Yeah, just goes
either way, there's swamp all round. But okay, Chris, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm seeing similar things, but the thing that there are a few things that I'm hearing which makes it seem to me that they don't believe that it's they believe that it's a close run thing and they're going to be able to do it, and they're going to be able to try and doctor things. And that's how things are being put. It's a close run thing because they haven't got a good candidate, and all of this. But I think they are completely underestimating the Trump vote, and I think that's this. They've been.
Do you think they're underestimating, or do you think they're playing it down? I think they're playing it down. I think they know. I think they know.
I think the TDS is actually really. I think they are playing.
It's a real thing.
But I think the TDS is so strong with most of them.
Who's that? PDS.
TDS.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Right.
TDS.
Okay. Okay. TDS.
But,
it's a real thing.
Yeah, and I think this is where it comes. I think they think that he's winning, but not by as much as he actually is. So they may try, a bit like with Brexit, they thought it was going to be close, so they over-egged it and they doctored some stuff. And I'm convinced there was electoral fraud because they called it for Remain and then it wasn't, and they called it at 52-48 for Remain. So it sounds to me like there's similar thing is going to happen here, where they're going to try and doctor it enough so it's close, because they don't want Biden either. They don't mind if they get Biden, but they don't really want him. And they're thinking, oh yeah, we'll put Pelosi in, and I think that's their plan. But for them to put Pelosi in, it needs to be no clear winner. So it needs to be near enough 50-50 for them to do that. Now, if they can't do that, if they've got to try and keep their pampering to that sort of level. Now, if they are underestimated, then that would mean that Trump would win, but maybe by a smaller margin than he should because of electoral fraud, but it would mean that he would win and would decisively win. And if he decisively wins, they haven't got a leg to stand on. They can try and argue this, that, and the other, but the thing is, at the same point, they can't go for he's rigged the election argument.
Yeah, the mail-in voting is a big deal right now. Yeah,
it's a big deal. But if they are doctoring the vote themselves, the last thing they want is to try and say, if Trump wins, that he's won by electoral fraud, because all it's going to take is an investigation, and the investigation is going to clearly show that they have, because that will have been what has happened. So at that point, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. So I don't see them. I see them trying to doctor it just enough for this middle of the road plan with trying to get Pelosi in. But I think they're going to underestimate it. And the big thing is two things. Tim's probably seen these. One was a social latitude study, which showed that the vast majority of people who are slightly liberal to strongly conservative do not feel comfortable voicing their political opinions. Only those that are strongly liberal. Now, the strongly liberal is akin to, this is the Antifa viewpoint. Not liberal as in the real sense, it's liberal as in the far leftist sense. So we've got that. Now, that is evidence of a silent majority. So the polling, people are not telling people. And then you have to look at Rasmussen. And Rasmussen, when you have 4% of black Americans were favourable to Donald Trump before he was elected in 2016, and now 43% are showing favourability. And Rasmussen is the most accurate poll based on what happened in 2016. It was the only one that was anywhere close. So
right.
When we look at that would say a massive swathe of the black vote going to Trump. Now, if you got that, the Democrats need 90% of black vote in order to win an election. Even if we knocked it down to, say, 30%, that means they only get 70% of the vote. 70% of the black vote isn't enough to put the Democrats over the line.
That's right. Okay, let's just take a few comments, and then I'm going to read a story about the mail-in voting, and we can continue from there. LaBelle says, I've sent you something about the protest in Berlin against the COVID-19 measurements. MSM said 20,000 took part. That's right, LaBelle, that's what I read. But it was over 1.3 million, LaBelle says. MSM shot themselves in the foot. LaBelle, I don't know where you sent it, but pop it in the comments here, please. Preferably at dailychaos.news/chat. And she actually asks, I've registered on the website, but I can't find any chat on there. Oh, well, I stay here. LaBelle, have another go. The chat starts when the show starts, which actually isn't when the show starts streaming, but when the show actually starts at the top of the hour, so at 9 o'clock. That's when the chat starts. And LaBelle also says there's something huge going on. It feels that more and more people are becoming awake to what is going on. The establishment is beginning to shake in their boots, and the facade is beginning to show. Let me quickly just very quickly reboot my sound card, because one sec. Okay, should be better. Bit of crackling going on there. And Brum Al, our whole government machine together with the MSM is the swamp. Yeah, Brum, I think so. I mean, we're seeing it with what's going on in the English Channel. Yeah, the handover from the French Navy to the British border force of migrants coming in, whilst the UK's on lockdown because of coronavirus. These folks are coming in and they're barely screened, or what? I don't know. It's fine, bring them in, and then they get their council houses or whatever put up in 4-star hotels, spas, according to Nigel Farage, according to the video that he shot the other day. And then at I'm a Brexiteer, some Facebook group, one of the admins was saying, Nigel Farage is SH1T stirring. Yeah. Well, you know what? Actually, he's doing what journalism should be doing, which is reporting what's going on so that the British people get to know what's going on their border. That's what Farage is doing. I don't always agree with the guy, but I sure as hell agree with him about that. LaBelle also says, but will they... Well, I don't know. Was dissolved. I don't know. I lost that comment. I apologise. LaBelle says, as you just heard, it was over 1.3 million at the protest, was still ongoing for hours after they announced it was dissolved. Yeah, I mean, these problems are going on all over. In Germany, I do believe that people have had enough as well, but they're very, very cowed over there. Let's just take a story on what's going on with this proposed vote rigging by the Democrats, the postal ballots, what have you. According to Breitbart, Donald Trump challenges Nevada mail-in voting stunt. See you in court. President Donald Trump on Monday challenged the state of Nevada for moving to enact mail-in voting, threatening a lawsuit. In an illegal late-night coup, Nevada's clubhouse governor made it impossible for Republicans to win the state, Trump wrote on Twitter. Post office could never handle the traffic of mail-in votes without preparation, using COVID to steal the state. See you in court, said Trump. State Democrats held an emergency legislative session on Sunday, passing a bill that would mail every registered voter a mail-in ballot and even allow other individuals to fill out and deliver ballots for the elderly and disabled. The proposed legislation also bypasses the state's top election official, Secretary of State Barbara, ability to control the election, giving powers to the governor after declaring a state of emergency. The bill, rushing through dramatic voting changes in the state, is expected to be signed by Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak, a Democrat. It comes in the wake of weeks of controversy over the issue of mail-in voting. A question to you, please, Tim. Is this being overplayed, this concern over mail-in voting, or is it genuine? And please, why, in your estimation?
Oh, it's definitely genuine. It's not being overplayed. Definitely not. It's a it's a serious problem, and it's so serious that Trump actually he made an announcement that if he has to, he's going to delay the election until people can vote safely and securely. And everyone's freaking out because they don't think he has the power to do that. Only Congress determines the date of the election, but actually they gave him sweeping powers with this pandemic, and they don't realize that they actually played right into his hands. They gave him these powers because they thought Trump was going to be tyrannical and just wield this, iron hand and just basically do himself in politically. And what he did was he didn't do that. He has federal powers right now that he wouldn't normally have, but because of they're basically, I believe, warlike powers that
to invoke is it the Insurgency Act? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually,
which basically means that he could send the troops in and quell the riots, but he's not done that. Is he right or wrong not to do that?
He's right, because it would be playing into their hands. That's exactly what they wanted to do. I believe what they really wanted to do was have the National Guard come out in strong show of force, and then they would have snipers somewhere like they've done in Egypt, they've done in Syria. And so it looks like it's a civil war, but really it's a third party is shooting and killing these people. And there's no way to prove. They did it in Donbass as well in Ukraine. I've seen video of it. It's disgusting. Literally had snipers there with these people in these protests, and they picked them off. They actually waved them to the spots, actually guided them and picked them off. It's disgusting. And I believe that was their plan all along. That's why the federal officers were only going out and basically taking people one by one. They were doing it individually. They weren't. There was no marching of any troops out to grab anyone or anything.
So this Nevada story, Democratic-run state, and they've decided that they want to send a postal ballot to every member of the state. How is that illegal? Is it not up to the state to decide how they conduct their electoral voting, or is it a federal issue? is there some kind of question mark over this?
The government can oversee that as well to make sure that it's being done fairly. I believe that there's both. They can oversee it, but the problem is with mail-in voting is I've gotten ballots here in Oregon, and Oregon is mail-in, and there'll be no choice for Republican on there, or I don't. And somebody was explaining how it works or something, and it's just all confusing, and to find out, by the time you get your ballot and trying to figure it out, your vote is just lost. There's a certain way that you have to go about it if you want to vote for a Republican candidate because they're not on the ticket or something. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, we've got a similar thing in California. Basically, if you're a registered Republican, you can vote for Republican candidates. If you're a registered Democrat, you can vote for Democrat candidates. If you're registered as an independent, you can vote for Democrats, independents, or any libertarians or anything like that. It comes down to, and if you don't have, you can only, if you are only Republican, you won't have to get a Republican, be able to vote for a Republican, you have to be registered Republican. And so
why? That's ridiculous. I can understand why that's the case for primaries, where you're choosing a candidate, which presumably is what this system is set up for. But that system is ridiculous for a presidential election. Surely there's nobody that can contest that. Are you sure that's accurate? Yeah. Timothy, is that accurate, what Chris just said?
Yeah. It's like a passive aggressive.
Surely the Supreme Court will just say, you've got to be joking. That's a joke.
They've been doing it for years. This is the standard procedure.
Yeah. But that surely is for primaries, no, where people are choosing their party's candidate, where it would make a little bit more sense. But
it's both. Unless you go in and vote, your vote is.
If on a mail ballot, they only give you what's available because independents and libertarians and the Greens are all willing to be. They can put their candidates up for the Democrat nomination. They will. Because the Democrats have allowed it and they've got this thing, all those candidates will be on there, but they will not have a Republican. So the only way you can vote Republican is to know the name and write it in.
Yeah.
So the only way you can do it would be on a write-in if it's the mail-in ballot. If it's the ballot there, you
don't even know if they're going to count it. Yeah.
Now look, I want you to be absolutely realistic, please. Because I know that, frankly, you're both a little bit biased, but I want you to be absolutely realistic. Is there any chance that Nevada or any other state can get away with imposing a system as ridiculous as this?
Well, this standard way of ballots is for mail-in ballots is pretty standard in a lot of states. It's already the case in California. It's the case in Oregon. So that's not gonna be a problem. The problem is.
So you're not allowed to change your mind. You're not allowed to say, you know what? After all, I don't like that candidate. I like the party, but I don't like that candidate. It's a Pepsi challenge anyway. I'm going to go for the other guy. You're not allowed to do that. Where's the freedom?
There's a way to go about it, but you won't get the ballot. By the time you get the ballot and you want to try and figure out how you're going to go about voting for someone else, you're going to run out of time.
So how is that different when you walk down to the polling station?
Because you ask for the ballot. You ask for the ballot paper that you want. Yeah. So you get the paper. You choose the paper. You basically get the paper in the ballot in that thing and say, "I want a ballot," and they have.
I want a Donald Trump ballot. That's what you say.
So you don't get a secret ballot at all in the United States presidential election.
you basically you have to choose which. You have to choose whether you want the Republican.
Well, you do and you don't. Yeah.
And this is the thing: on a Democrat ballot, you can vote for everyone but Republican.
You're not just voting for the president, are you? You're voting for senators as well.
All the different things going down.
Congress too. But with any of these, you're telling me that you don't get a secret ballot. Timothy said you do and you don't. Please explain that.
Well, I mean, there's only two parties really. So I mean,
Sure.
When you get your ballot, there's both parties are on there, But I mean,
right.
Yeah, you don't say I want a Democrat ballot or I want a Republican ballot.
Okay, so there is a difference when you get a ballot at home. If you're registered as a Democrat,
at home, you get a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot. Yeah.
So, okay. So your choices. Let me get this right. Yeah. Educate me, gentlemen. You're presumably on there. You've got a choice of who's running for Congress, of who's running for the Senate, and the president. But they're all going to be the same color, blue or red.
If it's a mail-in ballot, yes. If it's an in-person ballot, you'll have a choice.
What a joke! And if you go down the polling station, you get the choice with both blue and red for effectively 3 elections in one. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I got
better.
my primary mail-in. My primary
Definitely
mail-in
better.
ballot. I got a mail-in ballot for primary here, and there was no Republicans. I mean, there was no selection for Republicans on it. It was ridiculous.
But that's not the only problem, is it? We also hear about ballots being thrown in bins and tub loads of them turning up at the when voting's about to close or that sort of stuff.
And changing your registration. So the DMV, there's been cases where the DMV have been changing people's registrations. So you may be a registered Republican, and you suddenly find you get people around the primaries were finding that they had been deregistered to vote, or that their registration had been changed to Democrat. So by the time you and if you're getting a mail-in ballot, the first time you find out about it, unless you keep an eye on it, is when you get your ballot paper. It's like, why have I got a Democrat ballot? I'm a Republican. No, it says here you're a registered Democrat. I've never voted Democrat. I've never registered Democrat. So why is it saying? Well, you must have. And that's basically their attitude. You must have. And they just flat deny that they've changed it, even though they have.
Yeah. Okay. It's a mad system. And this year, it's more mad than ever on steroids, to the power of 10. We're going to talk about the Clintons just for fun in a minute, because I mean, it's as sick as it is. It's relatively funny, I suppose. It isn't actually at all, is it? But political blackmail is not fun, and sex slavery is not fun. But to see them, I don't know, running around in disguise, trying to knock everybody off, is got some sort of a gallows humour about it, I suppose. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys where this leads, irrespective. And this is a question I've asked you before, and it's a question that I'm not ashamed to say I will be asking you again as we get closer to this election, because it is really what concerns me. Whatever happens with this election, what is the fallout going to be? How serious is it going to be? Timothy?
I think it's going to be real serious. This is what I've heard, and it seems to be the feeling of a lot of people, is that there's going to be a purging. So either way, I feel that on either way, that there's not going to be. It's going to be worse than the last time, when nobody wanted to accept the results. I think there's going to be less disbelief, but people are already ramping up this kind of revolution. And I think that if Trump is still in there, I think the Democrats, until they can be taken out, and taken out of power or taken out whatever, until they can be brought down, they're going to keep going. They're not going to stop. These
Chris,
people are crazy.
do you think that
this is sinister?
What's your thoughts on where things are going, Chris? Have you been stocking up at the gun shop again, Vicar?
How I'm actually looking at this myself is I can see what will happen when Donald Trump wins. The Democrats, if they cannot do something about it, it will be okay. Washington, Oregon, California, the states that go blue will just go, we're joining into an alliance that we're not going to do with anything he says, which is basically effectively a secession. At which point you are talking it'll be a civil war, because America does not. America definitely does not want to have a situation where the union fails, because of where resources spread out places and financial implications and all of this. It would be an absolute mess. And bear in mind, you're also talking that a secession would mean that you would have an enemy nation on your border as well. So I think that we would be then talking that there would be some form of civil war, but whether it would be all the people or whether it would be governmental forces, I don't know. I think I can see this it is getting very, very messy. There is also the potential that if we end up with a situation where this is all Donald Trump wins. I'm just going to put it this way. Donald Trump wins, and they all start, before they even get to that point, they start making murmurings, and ends up being all these things. And they've got, the DOJ has got information on some of these people being involved in certain things. I wouldn't be surprised if it just gets released. All these politicians have been doing this.
Yep.
Homeland Security Directive 51. We are removing them from power, and we're instigating a temporary government in those areas, in those seats, to replace those people that are now under arrest for high crimes, and I can see he needs that. I think he wants that. He wants the people to come back and say, yes, we are really on your side for this. We voted for you. And I think that's kind of...
And I think they are.
I know.
And the majority.
I think it's that, give him that pop, because he's just been elected. So he's just had them say it. So they're going to try and do all sorts of crap between November and January. That's their period to do something. Because obviously the
even try to assassinate him. Don't put it past him. Yeah.
And we know that there were assassination.
There have been. Yeah.
Attempts.
Well, I mean, CNN was talking about the President Trump, the possibility of him being assassinated on his inauguration day. They were covering that story. I mean, can you believe it? Incitement to violence on CNN on inauguration day, with a country, the day that changed America, as you know, most of us know. There's been 3 or 4 of them, but one of them was the day that JFK was assassinated, huh? And they moot this on Inauguration Day. Absolutely unbelievable. Look, there's a lot of it about. Let me just show you something that's going on in London. Was going on over the weekend. Look at this. This is going on in the streets of London.
Company move.
That's Soros. That's some more Soros shit right there.
Company move.
Yeah, we got a black militia group over here too.
I can't lie to you. It's serious. So if you see me in this vest, this is what's been going on. Everyone's asking about the vest. You see what I'm saying?
They're doing a drill.
Order, structure.
What is that? Hyde Park?
That's what I've been talking about. This
No, I
is
think
the
it's
team. Come
Brixton
there.
way. I don't know.
I don't know what you've been told.
I don't know what you've been told.
Families come to take the roads.
Families come to take the roads.
I don't know what them man heard.
I don't know what them man heard.
Families come to take our turf.
Families come to take our turf.
We're forever family.
We're forever family.
Here to set the people.
I don't want them to set me free. Don't do it. It's all right. Go home. Unbelievable. Can you believe that is going on? It's like the brown shirts or something. Here's a bit more. I don't know, maybe it's the same vid. I don't know.
Company move.
It's just incredible.
None of this.
Face. About. Face. Company move.
Got real man them in this. I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you. It's serious. So if you see me in this vest,
it isn't legal, actually. It isn't legal. In fact, let me show you a post that was put out earlier. There's another picture of it. I put this on Facebook earlier. I got banned from posting to groups today, basically because I was sharing this kind of stuff. The Soros paramilitary yesterday in London, Cannes, London, was my take on it. David Curtin, who's coming on Daily Chaos tomorrow, bless him, to tell us about his bid running for London Mayor, Assembly member in London City Hall at the moment. He put out a picture of that paramilitary group saying London cannot have paramilitary groups parading down the streets and threatening disorder. This group should be banned under the 1936 Public Order Act by the Mayor of London. And when I tried to share that tweet from him, it came up with a message to me saying, "Oh, what did it say? Let me see if I can find what it said. I'll tell you exactly what it said. It said, your message couldn't be sent because it includes content that other people on Facebook have reported as abusive." It's not abusive, Facebook. It's a fact. It's a fact. The Public Order Act of 1936 is a fact. It is illegal for people to dress up in military uniform in units like this with dozens, if not nearly 100 strong, like a small regiment or whatever. It is illegal to do that. There is nothing abusive about pointing out the law, Cleggbook. This is spreading, is my point. What you're seeing in Portland, for example, Timothy, is spreading around the Western world, and it does appear that the United States and the UK are right up there in the sights of these globalist fascists who want to rid us of our national sovereignty wherever we are, whatever country we're in around the world, and to homogenize us under this global government. And
it's a worldwide
effort. It appears to me that is the fight that we're facing. And that's why, you know what, in the comments in the chat, it's good to have a laugh, but you know what, these are serious times and we got to take them seriously. Timothy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, that's the other thing. you know, I know that a lot of people they poo-poo the Q movement, but right now, that's all I see unfolding is everything I've been following for 2.5 years, and everything that's taking place is just like watching a movie. You know, it's surreal. We are living in unbelievable times, and I think a little humor is good because I mean, you know, love does prevail. I feel. I think that I'm getting a lot of satisfaction and a lot of. This is the best and worst year of my life. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's been chaotic and very satisfying too at the same time.
In what way is it the best? I'm finding it difficult to understand
during COVID-19. Well, because of economically, you know, the media wants to sell that America's doing terrible, but my industry that I'm involved in was outsourced during the Obama years, and the industry took a downturn. That's semiconductor, high tech. I work for a company, and I do semiconductor. I'm doing R&D research for Intel, and that industry and the wage that I make right now, I was actually hired because of my experience. Whereas during the Obama years, I could get a job maybe doing this as a temp in a fab like Hewlett Packard, and there was several fabs on the property that were gutted because all those processes were sent to Singapore or Malaysia or somewhere else. They outsourced all this, and all of that has come back. So in the process of all of this chaos and everything, I've gotten back into a job where I'm making 70 grand a year, you know, going from being unemployed and working as a bartender, as a waiter, you know, in Georgia, and just suffering miserably through some real dark times. And
well, the drinks are on you in the bar later.
Well, and that's the other thing. I've gotten sober during the process of all this too. You know, I've come into a whole new, you know, I'm sober of mind. I'm here. I'm watching these things unfold. I'm paying attention, and it's a great time to be alive. But at the same time, they are frightening things that are happening. And but I'd rather be sober and aware while they're happening than than not. So yeah, that's what I mean. Great things and exciting things. You know, it's all in how you look at it. I think that they're gonna work out. I think they're working out. The media, really, man. If you watch mainstream media, it'll scare the shit out of you. But I know it's BS. So
I'm just reading a story here, another one that's very relevant, which I'm sure is going to grow and grow over the next few weeks, running up to this election, which is just around the corner now. What is it? 93 days, something like that, I think, till the election now. Former Clinton press secretary urges Biden, whatever you do, don't debate Trump. And this is Zero Hedge's take, but the New York Times has been talking about this and urging Biden not to debate Trump. Bill Clinton's former press secretary has urged Joe Biden not to debate President Trump, claiming that it's a fool's errand because Trump will not follow the rules. Well, maybe he's just got his brain engaged and isn't suffering from dementia and will be able to answer some questions without, putting a few noughts on the statistics here and there, which Biden's been doing pretty much every time he mentions a figure. Appearing on CNN over the weekend, Joe Lockhart followed up an op-ed urging that Biden will be consumed by having to fact-check everything Trump says. That's the general idea in a debate, actually. You know what, Joe Lockhart? Whatever you do, don't debate Trump, Lockhart wrote in the piece, adding that Trump has now made more than 20,000 misleading or false statements, according to the Washington Post. Well, according to the Washington Post, that told us about Russians for 3.5-4 years. Yeah, great. That's a great reference. Well done, Joe Lockhart. It's a full... Anyway, more on that. There's no way Biden is going to debate Trump, it seems to me. Boosey?
I can't hear you.
Can you not? Blimey.
You stopped talking. I couldn't hear it.
Could you not? All right, not to worry. Anyway, there's no way that debate's going to happen. Chris, wake up. Let's take a few comments. Amanda Rolfson, let me guess. The new ISIS getting into a large group before they bounce. Playing soldiers, says 08 Shunter. Carlos, stock up a few petrol cans too. I think they're talking about ways to protect themselves and possibly the forthcoming civil war in the UK, which could well spread over from the US. Libertarian 1986, not to mention with RNC being cancelled in Florida. What's that? The Republican National Convention. Fentanyl spray drones saying the punters saying they died of COVID or potentially harming President Trump, saying he died of a heart attack. I don't know how they're going to sell the lamestream media. Put it on my Facebook twice. Lots of laughs, says Amanda, about, I guess, the paramilitary stuff going on in London. Olly, says Freedom Steve, that means it couldn't be shared, as others have already complained about the content. Yeah, and I gathered that. Carlos says, we are living in tyranny. Government are controlled, corrupt fotzes. Freedom Steve, we are weeks away from a serious show of violent force by the Islamic community, I reckon. Q keeps me sane, says Poet Blue. And Amanda Thompson says, Steve, if these two groups join against us, where are the police going to be? Question mark. And that is a great question. Where are the police going to be? That wouldn't protect aged veterans that needed a pee, yeah? When they went to protect the cenotaph, they were denied water, and Soros's crew, BLM stroke Antifa, they were given water by the police. Just unbelievable. Incredible. Anyway. Yaldo Barth says, have you researched Q? I think we should get Q on the show, actually. I have heard his renditions for ages, and Hillary's still not arrested and electrocuted. Lots of laughs, says Freedom Steve, adding, why would anyone vote for child sniffing Biden? He does seem to like teenage hair, that's for sure. So I suppose that brings us neatly on, gentlemen, to Bill and Jeff's sex slave adventure. Now, maybe I should be banned for using that title. I don't know. Is it unfair? Maybe I should have put a question mark behind it. But that is the allegation from at least one of the victims, that these girls, they are sex slaves. They were sex slaves. And then Bill Clinton is reportedly hanging out on Pedo Island, allegedly Pedo Island, yeah, with two girls, one on each arm. He denies having been to the island. He says that he's been on the Lolita Express, Jeffrey Epstein's private plane, 4 times. The flight logs, which were released the other day, by the way, as well, they say that he was on them 26 times on the Lolita Express. What are we to think here? Would it be fair to say that the media should at least be asking some pretty stern questions at the very, very heart of the Democratic Party? Christopher. Timothy. Sorry, Christopher.
Chris, can you hear?
Chris Boosey.
I keep on getting things dropping out. That's the point. You guys drop out when you ask me something, and I can't hear a word you say sometimes.
Oh, mate, I think. Oh, I hope. Look, tell me if in the comments if you can hear all the audio, people. But Boosey, that might be a problem with your sound card tonight, possibly. Boosey, what is your take on the media who, in my opinion, they're just not covering this sensibly. Yeah, it seems if the story, yeah, it's not actually hebephilia. It's not even sex slavery. It has to be said. Bigger story as that is, the real story here is what is the reality of this being akin to political blackmail.
Yeah, I honestly, the media is... Do we really expect the media to actually openly admit that this whole time, all of their idols that they've been pushing, all of their friends, are wanton pedophiles? They're not going to do that. Because it's not just Bill. ABC. You've got the heads of Disney going to Epstein's Island. You've got Disney cruises that have gone to Epstein's Island. You know, with children on them. You know, you've got ABC execs, you've got media execs, you've got some of these actual newscasters. They've been there themselves. So why would they give credence to any of this? Because
the people that control social media have been there.
They're the ones that are doing it as well. Yeah. That's what the problem is. So we're expecting the media right now, if we want them to report it, we're expecting the media to shoot themselves in the foot and admit that they are culpable and that they have been doing these things as well. So that's why they're not doing it. But I would say this is not going anywhere. As in, it's not going away. We've got the very fact that they are now openly saying Bill Clinton has been there and he's been one of the most persistent visitors. You know, maybe Prince Andrew being the only person who visited more than Bill Clinton. You know, it's laid out there. It's, you know, we know that kids were abused there. You know,
well, we don't actually know anything for sure at the moment. We've got a load of evidence, yes, but it hasn't been through court yet, so we do need to do that. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be asking questions. And it just seems to me that my big with this guy Jeffrey Epstein and this sex slaver Ghislaine Maxwell, allegedly, the questions would be off the charts. Whereas when the shoe's on the other foot, they are desperately trying to cover it up. And there are one or two stories, yes, but they are way, way down the running order. And you ask yourself, where would it be on the running order if it was Trump? If it had it not just now, but in the last presidential campaign, before he was president. Look at what they did with the Russian stuff, which turned out to be a bunch of nonsense. All of it. Nothing could be corroborated. Nothing. It seems to me it's the lack of balance, personally, that gets my goat more than anything. More than anything. Because if you haven't got an honest media, then you've got nothing to keep the politicians honest and to stop them taking bribes from the kind of plutocrats that really, really are the characters behind the curtain. No? Timothy?
I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. I'm actually Yaldo Beoeth. So I'm
good.
Talking to
Read them out. Read them out. Oh, yeah, you are Yaldo Bath. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, look, I'm just going to finish the show, actually, on a story which is relating to this, and it is Andrew. Records of Prince Andrew's location on night of molestation destroyed by police. This according to Zero Hedge. According to a former member of the Royal Guard who worked on Prince Andrew's security detail, the London Metropolitan Police have destroyed evidence that could have revealed where Prince Andrew was on the night that he is accused of having had sex with a teenager that was being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The night in question is March the 10th, 2011, as well as the morning hours of March the 11th. Virginia Giuffre, who was known by the name Virginia Roberts at the time, says that she was taken to London by Epstein and Maxwell and was expected to have sex with Prince Andrew. Giuffre says that she was just 17 years old. He reckons he was down at Pizza Express or something. Anyway, how convenient.
Well, here's the thing. There has been one thing that a pundit made a comment, but it kind of very quickly got pushed out, ran over, and they just kind of, let's move on. And a pundit actually made the comment that Bill Clinton's statement about his involvement, the way he worded his "I haven't done this" kind of thing with on the Epstein's Island and all this. I've never been on the island. I've never been on all those kind of statements he made sounded almost identical in the way he was phrasing things to "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." It sounded very much like him when he tried to cover up the fact that he was getting blowies in the Oval Office from Monica Lewinsky. So a pundit actually said his statement sounded reminiscent of that, and then they immediately were like, "Let's move on. We can't talk about this." But it was. I think we're now coming to a point where things are really about the things are about to drop, and
how awake do you guys think people really actually are?
A lot more than they have been.
I think we've got enough people, and enough people have been saying things because of the Q stuff, which is valid. I don't care what some of the people in the comments are saying. They who think it's false hope, they're wrong, and it's a simple.
They are wrong.
You see, I just wonder if people are being a little bit complacent, and that actually there is a real possibility that the US election will be stolen, or even if it isn't, that we're going to see ourselves in a civil war in the US, that the tumult is going to somehow be used to derail Brexit, basically another Brextension, and that I really have no faith in Boris Johnson now. The way that this government has been handling lying about the migration crisis, seeing black clad paramilitaries uniformed on the streets in London at the weekend with no police response, seeing people like Keir Starmer bending the knee, to what? To a movement which is basically a movement of unrest paid for by George Soros, who is just nothing good anywhere ever. To me, is all proof that we have an establishment on both sides of the Atlantic, at least as far as the UK and the US is concerned, and I think everywhere else too, pretty much, that cannot be trusted. And I think whatever happens in November, it's going to be if Trump wins, then the cornered tiger is going to say, well, we've got nothing to lose. Let's kick off. Let's start shooting, shed load of people with, semi-automatics or whatever. Let's really get this thing going, because otherwise we might go to jail. And a few people don't give a damn how many people die so that they don't go to prison, it seems to me. Or on the other hand, if the Democrats somehow pull off the election, and the only way I see it feasibly happening is through vote rigging. But if that does happen, I would have thought actually that civil war would be averted for a little bit longer, because I think that actually Republicans are slightly more peaceable. But that there is now so many people that are just so frustrated and fed up with the fact that this corruption, this disease, it remains in politics. Time and time again, our politicians tell us, change, and there isn't. And I think that it will happen inevitably anyway. I don't know. Am I somehow wrong here? Am I somehow wrong? Is there any way that we can see some sort of progression to order, whoever takes power in November, and that maybe we can begin to aspire again towards, call me old-fashioned, that old thing, democracy?
Ollie, I do think you are very you're being extremely pessimistic, and and I think you should hope dashed multiple times before, but this time
Carlos is not. He's not paying attention to what's going on. He just has all these questions. You can't. If somebody doesn't want to see, they're not going to. They're not going to see what's going on. If you're actually following this, you'll know that things are happening behind the scenes. You'll know that chess moves are being made. You'll know that there are big moves being made. There are arrests being made. There is a lot of things going on. The one thing that the people that are being moved out of the way, the Obama holdovers, all that's being done is Trump is letting the deep state expose themselves. That's what's going on, and they're playing right into his hands, as opposed to them playing right into him.
But if you haven't got the media reporting on the facts, because I speak to people,
that's why we have a back channel. That's what Q is.
But most people, Timothy, don't. The vast majority of people, for example, that I speak to,
it's huge.
Yes, it is. But is it huge enough? Because, for example, people I speak to, go out and meet some people socially or what have you, they haven't got a clue about any of this stuff. They haven't got a clue about any of it. And you know what? What's even worse? Timothy, what's even worse is that they don't really particularly care. They are actually genuinely
care less.
They are more concerned. Yeah. They are more concerned. This is my estimation of peer pressure. They're more concerned of peer pressure. They're more concerned if around that table they agree. I'm nearly finished. I'm very nearly finished, and then it's up to you. They're more concerned, in my estimation, when we're around that dinner table, and I'm the only person that's basically trying to be balanced about what's going on politically. They're more concerned that if somehow they are seen in any way, shape, or form to support Trump or Brexit, that they will be looked down upon by the other people around that table.
That's kind of what Chris was talking about, where that those are the ones, the majority, that are that choose not to express their opinions. But that's becoming that's becoming less of a problem. When it comes down to it, these people are showing. Oh yeah. There was a report. This was a year ago, I believe. They had a guy, and this was actually to play Q down, and it had the opposite effect. Jesse Waters had a professor on his show that was supposedly a Q expert in social media and different things like that. So the guy didn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He was an idiot, and it was kind of interesting to watch Jesse Waters on Fox play dumb, because he said that how many people do you think are actually following this? And he goes, well, our estimates are that it's approximately 30 million people. So 30 million people actually in the United States is 10%. This was a year ago. Yeah. They say that when coronavirus hit and the lockdowns hit, there was a surge in the Q movement. It went up. I don't know, Chris, maybe you can help me. I can't remember, but it was by at least 60% or something. It just increased exponentially in research and people in interest. They saw it on different algorithms and different, and more suppression came out, and more Q articles that were supposedly telling you that how dangerous it was and how it was affecting families negatively and all these dividing people and all this bullshit, just stupid stories. But and if you're a follower and you read them, you can just see right through all the bullshit. It's just ridiculous. The people they're getting shit half-assed from somewhere else. I'm sorry, I'm swearing so much, but I just get frustrated with this.
You're being very rude tonight. Very rude. Yeah. You're normally such a gent. Yeah. Just a couple of comments more. And thank you for your comments. Libel, they're now trying extremely hard to fit Trump in with Epstein Island. FBI were one of the documents released. Not getting away with it, Timothy, are they?
No, they've got one flight. They've got one flight from Florida back to New York, and that was when Trump's plane was being repaired, and he needed to get back quickly to New York.
That's what he says.
No, yeah. He flew with Jeffrey Epstein's son, not Jeffrey Epstein, on the plane. But it was one direct flight, and that's his sole entry. There's no evidence of him ever going to the island. There's no record of him ever being on the island, and that is this is where they're going. Yeah, but he's on one plane, and he didn't take the plane to there. And it wasn't with Jeffrey Epstein. And he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he was abusing. He was trying to groom the kid of one of the workers at Mar-a-Lago. And Trump told him, your membership's cancelled, you're going, you're not coming anywhere near this again. So this is where we're at. And the thing is, we've now got enough people who actually know what's going on and have been talking about it and being ridiculed, by people who actually who haven't actually been able to apply the critical thinking and actually follow Q properly. So what we've now got is enough people there so that people are now realizing that the news is fake because they're seeing it in front of them. People are going online and seeing full-blown riots in Portland being referred to as mostly peaceful protests, and people are going, you what? That's not mostly peaceful. And this is the thing. So people are now starting to come to people who know, who have been talking about these things and have been ignoring them, and going, oh no, that's a conspiracy theory, and now going, I think you might be right, because they're now seeing that the media is now having to go into such an overdrive of fake news.
Yeah, they sound conspiratorial now.
Gone so far that people are going, what? You expect me to believe this? So we're now at that point, and the reader. Just look at the mainstream newspapers. Most of them are so close to going bust financially. And this is why they're charging for access to their pages, for their newspaper, their news articles, because they are all in dire straits financially because people are no longer trusting them. So people
I wonder
are no longer...
how many of them are being propped up by the likes of Soros just to keep them in action.
Now, you heard
and
about
I know for a fact that The Guardian, by the way, in the UK is propped up by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and also the Rothschilds. That is a fact. Just a few more comments. William Davis says, perhaps try talking about trying to get the chat thing. Look, let me just show you very briefly, LaBelle, just to prove to you that this thing is kind of working-ish. This chat thing over on dailychaos.news /show. There you go. It's the chat thing over here. But maybe you just need to press F5 to refresh your browser or something like that. But anyway, just another couple of comments over on YouTube. LaBelle talking about bandwidth. Sort the mic out. It's crackling like mad. Shan Tiggs says, referring to you, Boosey, mate. God bless you. What happened to your green screen? Don't tell me now. But anyway, sort out your tech. God bless you, because I really want you to be heard. LaBelle. Oh no, don't do that. That was so sad. The most powerful man in the world, and all he is capable of is getting getting oral sex of a fat lass in a dodgy polka dot dress. Lots of laughs. LaBelle, for goodness sake. Anyway, and William Davis. What will be the catalyst that starts the civil war, Ollie? Well, it's the fact that people don't want to go to prison. It's as simple as that, William. It is as simple as that, it seems to me. Look, God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow with David Curtin. I want to say a big cheers to Timothy Otto Hill in Portland. God bless him. Stay safe, Timothy. Making loads of money now through this chaos. Well, good on you. Buy us a drink. And to Boosey, Chris Boosey. We love you, Chris, whether you can hear us or not in California. And see you next Monday, guys, hopefully, for another stateside update. And who knows, maybe, she'll be in an orange jumpsuit by then or something. Probably not. And see you tomorrow, yeah. David Curtin, running for London Mayor, popping in tomorrow to tell us about what's going on in the smoke, which is sorely on fire now, London town. David Curtin tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Last time he was on here, he was running for UKIP leadership, and Henry Bolton won it instead. And look what happened to that. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, you must because you were UKIP, weren't you? You know. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, if you've got any questions for David, I don't know. If you want to pop in or whatever, Sort out your mic, Boosey. Please sort out your mic. And thanks for everybody in the comments. Yeah. Thank you. Here's to us. And bugger plutocracy. Hey, share this. Share. Thank you. Let people know. Share.
Chris.
Yeah, Unfortunately, I've been put into another room where I'm having to use Wi-Fi. That's why my tech is not as good.
Sounds good now.
Yeah. Sod's law.
Sounds fine now.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, I can't stand people that call Q fake that have not researched. For a fact they haven't researched Q. It's so freaking annoying.
Well, this is the thing. I look at the people, and the people that who say it's fake. When I've given up even talking to them about.
I don't talk to them. Yeah.
Because the thing is, what they are doing when they're doing it is they've gone and had a look. They've misinterpreted the information, or that they've not actually listened to Q or read Q and looked at it. What they've done is they've gone to someone like Jerome Corsi or somebody like that and taken his extrapolation.
Or listen to Jack Persobiak and his
right. And Corsi's a black hat and fake. Yeah. So they then go, well, that's not right, or someone said something based on Q, and they've misinterpreted. Listen to
Alex Jones, same thing. Most of what people think is fake about Q is not even Q. It's other anons that have misinterpreted something Q says.
Exactly. It's not the interpretation of it. Like we are time scale. We had that for weeks. Most recent one was weeks, and they were saying we are, week, the countdown weeks.
And the other thing is if it's not real, then Trump's not real, because he's on board with it.
There was week 10 when everything is starting.
Yeah.
What happened week 10 when everything started? Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested.
Exactly, right what he said, yeah.
This is where it starts crashing down for them.
Yeah.
And that happened. And
the pandemic started right when he said it would, and he said there would be lockdowns, and they said he said they would crash the economy. And
now hold on, gents, just so that you know, you haven't said anything that you need to be ashamed of in any way, but I think we're still live. So just so that you know, before you start libeling anybody. But carry on. You know what? I don't know why. I'm just going to leave it running. I trust you guys.
I don't say anything I wouldn't say to their face anyway. I just didn't get a chance to, actually.
Things that you might say to their face, maybe you shouldn't say on this show, actually. But
maybe.
Look, I need to do one or two domestic chores.
I'm unfiltered.
I'm going to leave you to it. If you guys want to carry on, might just leave this streaming for a bit. We're still going out on YouTube and I guess on dailychaos.news. And you know what? Yeah, we're still on. I don't know why. I pressed the thing. No, the tech isn't working. I don't know why. Anyway, that's fine. I think a debate about Q is an interesting one to have. It seems to me, personally, it doesn't matter. I don't know what the deal is with Q, but it doesn't matter because I see what's going on. Aside from Q,
it's spilled over. It's spilled over into everything.
Does for me is it's like I hope the guy is right. But whether he is or not doesn't make any difference to what else I see going on.
It's less relevant now. It's less relevant now, actually, than the need to prove that it was right, because it's spilled over into everything. Whereas you're literally this one guy says, he goes, name one thing that's happened that he said would happen, and I go, this whole pandemic that we're in right now, this, and he goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, this, and then it's just one thing after another, and like you said, the week 10, something big will come, and next thing you know, Ghislaine Maxwell's, arrested, and here's the thing is that he also told us that Berman had to be removed, and that's why Trump fired Berman, and because they had asked Berman to actually look into Biden before Biden ran for president, and they wanted him to investigate his Ukraine dealings, and then he tipped off Biden, and Biden becomes a presidential candidate, so he can't investigate his political opponent. So that was the first thing, and then instead of doing that, he goes and he investigates Cohen, which is Trump's, personal attorney at the time. And then instead of going after Ghislaine Maxwell and furthering this whole Epstein investigation, he was going after Giuliani. So they fired that fucker, and
no, none of that.
Yeah, we're still and then immediately after he was out of the way, that was the Southern District of New York. Immediately after that, immediately after he was no longer there, they went after her and brought her in. So that was all ordained or whatever, or prophesied by Q. It just
and
bam, bam, bam.
It is just one of those where they're going, well, this one thing that I think was supposed to happen hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Well,
what?
Yeah.
How many, like, Hillary's not,
in
not in
general.
prison? Well,
yeah, Hillary's.
How many?
He hasn't drained the swamp yet, and yeah.
If you really
I mean,
think
it kind of makes sense that, I mean, look at, he's just been playing catch up. His entire presidency, he has had both his arms
he's replacing
tied
judges,
behind his back.
and that's the main thing. Is you have to realize that he's replaced over 200 judges, and he's also appointed 2 Supreme Court judges. But look at what Michael Flynn is going through right now. How can he expect to get convictions on these people when he's dealing with judges that the Department of Justice is asked to drop all charges against Michael Flynn, and you got a judge that is refusing to drop it and trying to prosecute him. He's trying to be the judge, jury, and prosecutor. It's ridiculous. So that's the kind of judges that he's dealing with. You can't drain the swamp when those are the people that that you're expecting to prosecute him.
Yeah.
Or to give him a fair trial.
Yeah, and this is the thing. He cannot just round everyone up. They don't understand. They don't understand the U.S. Constitution.
They
don't understand the U.S. The system of processes that have to go through. And I'm sorry, you're not going to arrest Hillary unless you've managed to you've got to. She's protected. You have to get other people before you can get her.
Yeah.
And you only need an IQ above 80 to realize that much.
Yeah.
And that's going to get me some grief in the chat. I've just taken the chat off because I can't be asked to read it because
I don't have it on either anymore.
They've got the blinkers on. They refuse to actually listen to any evidence. They would refuse to. They have their blinkers on and are not going to listen to anything else. So it's no point.
See, here's the thing. I have wanted it to be wrong. I have looked for every reason for it to be wrong. And who
wants a global pedophile ring? Sacrificing children and their blood for adrenochrome. Who wants that shit to be real?
I don't want that to be real. And every time I turn around, and that's the thing about it, is it's not telling me anything. I'm finding it. It's showing me where to look, or suggesting what to research, and it's things that are out there that are that why are they it's like you can't have opinions now. The thing that I've noticed is just the way that things have escalated, the amount of information's out there, and how I've seen censoring just step up. Now they're censoring opinion. You can't even, it could be your opinion that hydroxychloroquine actually works. You can't have that opinion now. That's a false opinion. How it's, I have these flags on my Facebook, on my Twitter, different. I'm just watching the censoring. It's just proving you right about everything. It's like, and people go, oh, that's just stupid. I'm like, really? I saw.
Did you manage to get out to do some filming last night?
No, I did go down and buy a new phone, and I was thinking about going down tonight and actually live streaming it. I'll send you, because we're friends now on Facebook. I'll live stream it. And you can see it. I got the phone last night. And by the time I got back, it's a good one now, so I'll be able to have a good phone. And the riots are different now. They've gone. This is the thing they're changing. They're going into the suburbs now, and or into just the outskirts of. And there's a really nice district down there. Actually, it's called the Pearl District, It actually it's higher end condominiums and nice brownstones it's and it's getting ugly and they're just breaking down, smashing in buildings and setting things on fire, and it's just ridiculous.
Well, did you heard what they said? Because they've reached a terms of ceasefire, Trump's already talking about sending in the National Guard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think anyone sane has an issue with that.
Yeah. So at this point, if he doesn't do anything, the citizens are going to start doing something. I think it's.
I am really seeing the difference between what's happening in different states, because you weren't online at the time, but I've just come back from Arizona. I was at the Turning Point USA Chapter Leadership Summit.
Okay.
Obviously, as I'm a student and I run a chapter, and I'm mixing with people from all over the country, and we're all seeing different things, hearing what happening in different states, and it's
it all seems to be coordinated. It's not independent, and it's obviously coordinated. It's painfully obvious, and like we saw Ollie was showing in London. The paramilitary group.
They're dressed exactly the same as they were when they were with the one that happened
in Georgia.
They're dressed exactly the same. It's the same badges. Everything's the same. It's like, really? The only difference is that in Georgia they were carrying firearms.
Yeah.
They're not carrying firearms.
They can have them. Yeah, they can have firearms, which is even scarier. Yeah. So all of this is just enjoy the show.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. But when I was down in Arizona, I did buy a couple of magazines because no 10-round magazine limit there.
Oh yeah.
And the place I went was actually a range because it was the nearest place.
Yeah.
Went in there. Oh yeah, not just that. Oh yeah, we got full automatic to rent at the range. It's like,
wow.
Really?
Yeah, I went to school down there. I went to DeVry. It's in Phoenix, and it was a big Republican state back then. Is it? It's not now, is it? It's
No. What's basically happened is, because it's a border state,
it's blue.
let's be blunt. What's happened in California is that they are illegally registering illegals to vote.
Yeah.
And they know that they're only going to get their status. The only way they're going to get their status is by voting Democrat. So, and I wouldn't be. I think it's probably very much the same thing. The Latino vote is about 75% Democrat and 25% Republican, but that split is down to where they come from. If they were a refugee from socialism, like your people who've fled from Venezuela, people who fled from Cuba, they tend to be. They will be Republican. It's like a guaranteed. If they're the fake, if they're the fake, oh, we're coming to a better life types, that aren't actually really. They're just after money. They tend to be voting Democrat, and that's just how it. That's just how it is. And obviously Arizona is on the Mexican border. That's
the ones that come here for the social programs vote Democrat, and they have no intention of. There's actually a system they've figured out how to actually siphon money off our system, our social programs here, and send it back to Mexico. So there's a whole scam they got going where they actually send money home, send all this money they get from their social programs, they'll send it back there. And that has never been addressed. That has just been perpetuated throughout one president after another. And
yeah, it's the thing. Arizona is a bit more of a mixed bag. It's nowhere near as bad as California.
Yeah.
And it's cities. It's cities again. You know, it's like Nevada, the issue where it's a Democrat state, Nevada. That's only because of Las Vegas. Literally, it is just because of Las Vegas. If it wasn't for Las Vegas, it'd be Republican.
Yeah. I think Oregon is similar because of Portland and Eugene, you know, and Salem. It's 3 cities, you know.
And you know, I think it's Arizona. It's you know, it's Phoenix and Tucson. That's it. You know, once you get any more
outside of there,
once you get rural in especially on the west, if you're rural on the west, you're red. And it's that people don't seem to realise that it is just this isolated city, almost city states within states. That is why the Democrats have got any form of power whatsoever.
It's because that's where the more highly educated seem to be, and they tend to vote the more scholarly because they're so full of themselves seem to vote.
It's like 20 people of 20
mental.
13 of them were teachers. That's our problem.
We socialist Marxist.
I'm blunt. We need McCarthy screwed it up because he used it as a political weapon against opponents. However, he didn't out anyone. Even though he did that, he didn't out anyone who wasn't a commie. And that's the reality, the uncomfortable truth about it. We need to take the House because we need to actually re-establish the HUAC.
Yeah.
Because, and to be honest, if we can get a decent enough majority, we just need to declare the Democratic Party un-American.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you listened to Jordan Peterson? Very much, you know, the Canadian. I believe he's a clinical psychologist, but he goes off about basically this postmodernism is basically what it is what the Democrats are. They're postmodernists. They don't care about morals or someone's character. It doesn't matter. It's about power and getting it. And
is about, isn't it? There is no morality to it.
Yeah.
You look.
They're actually crazy, and he explains it very well.
It's like during the Soviet, you had women were actually trained by the state to be promiscuous.
Yeah.
The whole idea of being faithful to your partner was not a thing.
They made a movie about that. What was that?
They were trained to be able to switch themselves off, and the whole idea of morality was anathema because morality, you cannot have morality really. The idea of morality comes from ideology and belief.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
decent values.
The reason they get that they attack religions in communist states is because they want the political party, to be your religion.
Yeah.
So, and that means whatever is expedient for the political party is deemed moral. So you have no fixed morality.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah,
if
it's crazy.
you have a belief system, it doesn't need to be a religion, but if you have a belief system that is how you live your life, you have a fixed sense of morality. It's not
It
fluid.
makes it impossible to reason with these people, though, is what my point is, that because of this, there's no reasoning. That's why I believe we're headed for a civil war, is because they're
getting rid of their humanity. If they're getting rid of their humanity, then they are no longer human in the same way. So it's like you are dealing with it's like you're trying to reason with a bear.
Yeah.
You can't reason with a bear.
Yeah.
You can't say, I don't mean you any harm, but that guy does, to attack him. He's going to attack whoever he wants.
Yeah.
Animal. It doesn't have
Tim Pool, I've been listening a lot to him. I just like his, because I like this neutral. I like to hear someone who didn't start out, and I wasn't necessarily supporting Trump in the beginning. I didn't even want to like Trump. Now I love the guy. I'm just like, he just gets more awesome all the time, because I get him. I see what's going on, and I see the other side a little better now than I ever did. So, but Tim Pool says that the
semi-anarchist coming out and saying, no, we can't have Biden, we need to have Trump.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it says a lot to me.
That shows the change of narrative.
But he says that the left
from being what you would think someone who would vote for Trump is.
Yeah. Well, and he's explaining his reasoning is, and man, I'm hoping he's reaching a lot of people, but he says that the right sees the left as misinformed, and the left see the right as just evil. They think we're evil, and you always hear these stories about this woman went to a Trump rally, and so there's all these ideas that they have about Trump supporters and conservatives on the left, and I don't know. This lady was on Dave Rubin. It's a really good. She actually wrote a book about it, but she they have these ideas that basically are just ridiculous, almost to the level of we eat babies or something. I don't know, but that's the left. We know that, but they actually do eat babies.
And I'm looking. The thing is, the sort of people I'm hearing now coming out and saying they're going to vote Trump because they can't vote for the Democrats anymore. They're like, we're talking the staunchest of Democrats who are going, it is not.
For years.
This is not my party. This is not what I'm not on board with this. This is, it's when you consider, like, something I was going to say, you look at the threats of assassination. Apart from JFK, every single guy one that was assassinated was a Republican.
Yeah.
And let's be fair, JFK nowadays would be a Republican.
Yeah, he would.
There is no way he would be on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't seem to get. And and then I'm having to study pseudo text like this.
Yeah.
And they're talking about how the Republicans was made up of Northern Democrats and Northern Whigs and abolitionists and all this. It's like it wasn't made up. It wasn't like Northern Democrats was a big thing. It was like, oh yeah, maybe a smattering of like the furious. But the fact is, when we went into the US Civil War, something that isn't even covered in this book, which when it's covering slavery, they don't say that the only people, despite it being evidenced and all of this, they don't say.
Oh, you got a revisionist history book.
We entered once we entered the Civil War, the only slave owners that were left, all
Democrats.
Democrats.
Yeah.
Every single last one. And yes, they didn't start the Civil War to end slavery. We know that. It was about the state versus union rights. That was the main reason. It was Lincoln started it to keep the country together. And actually, he wanted to phase some form of he wanted a phased form of emancipation. He didn't want to just do it. And it was actually their behavior and how they were acting. He just went, you know what, screw it. Because there were people that were a lot harsher on it than Lincoln, like Ulysses S. Grant. Yes, he had a slave which was given to him as a wedding present, and he got rid of it as soon as possible and made sure that he treated that slave like a brother until he could get rid of him. That was Ulysses S. Grant was intransigent. He said quite bluntly, they would say, okay, so we've lost, but we get to keep our slaves. We're like, oh, no, you don't. You lose your slaves. We are not doing slavery. You have to give up your slaves. That's part of your unconditional surrender. You give up your slaves. And that was, and they'll say, oh, but, you get these fake historians. They say, oh, but they didn't outlaw slavery. Even in the Constitution today, it is fully outlawed because it allowed people to be, punished, given false labor by
history is a set of lies agreed upon, I think, is what Napoleon said.
For labor as a judicial thing, i.e., what is the intent of that? That's so that you can get someone break rocks or build stuff as part of their penance to society for being a criminal, for screwing up society. We put them in prison. We're going to make them work hard and
chain gang,
do some benefit to society because they screwed over society. That's what it was. That's what that's allowing. Because if they outlaw slavery completely, they said they outlawed slavery, and it's in there the first. But if they didn't have that caveat in there, you wouldn't. What do? You send people to a prison and have them sit on their backside all day, maybe think about it, but it's not actually going to do anything really. You're not having them giving back to society that they've screwed over. That's part of the whole idea of the American justice system, that you actually have to give your labor and help fix right the wrongs that you've done to society by giving something back to society. That's why we've got things like probation services. It's we've got this kids' school. They need a pond putting in, or they need a swimming pool put in. Okay, we're going to get they can't do the technical thing, they can dig the hole. Okay, so we'll get probation to have a massive swimming hole.
It's like the guys that pick up the trash alongside the road. That's part of. I believe in that whole system like that. That's part of giving something back, and you can believe that those guys actually love to get out and do that. Believe me. But hey, man, I gotta go because mainly I gotta take a pee. But
I'm gonna have to go too because I've got 2 essays to write and a discussion.
Oh my God!
Before the end of the week.
Good luck with that, Chris.
It's this Black Study stuff, and I've got to do some do additional attempts at my final assessment for philosophy. It's finals week, and then I've also got to try and sort out getting my stuff getting a quote to get my stuff shipped from the UK to back over here because it can't stay in storage anymore.
Awesome.
Yeah, listen, guys. Thank you
Olly,
very much.
Olly, thank you again.
Continuing, because I think that was more interesting than the show. Thank you.
It's because we get to talk and we between ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no objections.
Lot to be said for it.
Yeah,
actually.
there's a lot that we actually agree on, and I think it's you know, living here and watching this unfold, and when I talk about Q, I get a little passionate because I have looked at it forwards and backwards. I mean, I have entertained the possibility of it being a psyop. I have seen it be infiltrated, like Chris talked about Corsi. I mean, I've watched it from the beginning, and I saw that actually even happening. And Alex Jones tries to discredit it. There's people that have faked being Q. There's some people called Serial Brain. There's there's just different interpretations, and different people have tried to profit off of it. But Q of itself, one of the purest probably interpretations of it is a guy named Praying Medic, and he doesn't spin it one way or another. It's just if he can't interpret it, it's left up to you to get what you can from it. But these the Q posts they're self-fulfilling. If you don't understand them, what ends up happening is it happens, and then you look back on the post and you go, oh shit, that's what that meant. So that's the way it works, and it makes it even more mind-blowingly impossible for it not to be true.
Happens, the greater your understanding of becomes, and you can actually then. Initially, it was extremely difficult to follow and extremely difficult to predict. The more you've been following this, the more you see, well, that's happened and that meant that and that, but blah, blah, blah. You can then now interpret. So a lot of people who started watching it at the start and then went, oh, not right, because they all interpreted things, or they listened to the false people. They go.
Well, Boosey really messed it up there for a while too.
But now we're at the point where we're going, hang on. Well, now those stuck with it have actually gone.
And that's the other thing. Everything has been done to disrupt it. You know, you got to remember it started on 4chan, then 8chan, and then they shut down 8chan after that shooting, and then he started it. He separated from that and started it on 8kun, and and now it seems to be the most secure. But the attacks on it.
Funny thing, latest thing from Turning Point USA, the latest imagery, it is yet to be fully released. Look at that image.
American socialist is an oxymoron.
Yeah. That's one of their latest graphics that they're using, which I'm going to be heavily using at my college with all the pushing of socialism. I
like that.
Yeah. So
Good luck with all that, man, Chris. That's cool.
Yeah.
Funny thing, I've got a Coexist T-shirt where the Coexist is made out of firearms. And I had a woman come up and she came and looked, oh, I like Coexist, I'll get a sticker for that. And she went, oh no, the guns, no. Wait until, and I'm there with my field rep and I go, I'm sorry, have we triggered you? Field rep there tried not to literally piss himself laughing. Just so deadpan said it, guns triggering, and it's just like,
oh my god.
And you just see it, and she just looked like a deer in headlights after that. It's like, there was no response.
But there's nothing she could say. Yeah, there's nothing she could say. All right, well, hey, you guys take care, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get off here. I'm like crossing my legs and twitching now. So, all right, you guys take care.
Okay.
99,
Bye, Chris.
Timothy.
Good luck, guys.
God bless you. Big cheers, Chris. Big cheers, mate. Thank you.
No problem.
You take care, man. Yeah, that's fascinating. So I heard I was making the bed actually. I was doing some chores and I was making the bed, and I had my cans in. I was listening to what you were saying, and I heard what Timothy was saying about the suburbs in Portland, and that's interesting, isn't it? Because if these demos are getting into more prosperous areas, then there's going to be more kickback.
That's what it comes down to. You got to. It's now getting into a point with the way things are going. The saying "stay strapped or get clapped" is becoming extremely true. So they're coming up to people's cars, they're threatening them with firearms, and then wondering why they get shot.
Yeah.
In Texas, of all things, it's like, come on, this is Texas. You've come up on a guy, you've pointed an AR-15 at him, and you expect him to just wait for you to pull the trigger?
Yeah.
No, that's pointed. That's it. Point firearm. That's my attitude.
That guy,
like McCluskey's. They had firearms They had rifles, but they had rifle barrels pointed at them. I saw those barrels.
What's going on with that case now, Chris? And is it?
That's basically the Missouri
That's the
Attorney
couple
General
that were defending their home, and it turns out they're Democrats. Just that. That's the couple. They were defending their home, weren't they? And there was a whole bunch of people marching past, and they stood outside, and he had his rifle, she had a pistol, and they were just defending their house. But you're saying that there were people that had rifles were
pointed at them.
Really? I didn't know that.
The protesters, yeah.
And what's happened? Because there was a lot of...
I think the protesters, but the Missouri Attorney General has basically instructed the case to be closed, and is now actually outright talking about the reason for dropping it is he has deemed the district attorney taking the case as incompetent. He's deemed her incompetent to handle the case, and therefore it should be dropped. And he's actually outright spoken about raising Title 18, Section 241 and 242 violations against her.
Bottom line is that they were just defending themselves
for constitutional. He's actually looking at putting an attorney into prison. And from what we're hearing, not only is the Missouri Attorney General is pushing for that, apparently he has the U.S. Attorney General supporting that action. Which, this could be a big thing, because if she goes to prison for it, that is a big shot across the bow of, we ain't going to take this, and we will be putting your guys in prison for infringing the Constitution. And I think it's well overdue. There are so many politicians that are willfully infringing on the Constitution, and they just need to. It just needs to be a case of charge them, put them before a court, put them in prison. And they actually at one point, my governor was saying that trying to stop people being able to buy ammunition and firearms at the start of the lockdowns. And that was part of why I was saying, you can't do that. And the thing is, if all it would have taken for it to be, he's infringed people's lives and cost them the life, therefore means it's death penalty. All it would take is for one of those people who tried to get an ammunition and a firearm and was denied from being able to get access, for them to be killed or seriously injured.
Yes,
that would be what it would take, and he would actually have committed an offence which was a capital offence, because the levels of punishment on those offences are down to the level of physical harm that becomes the individual whose rights are infringed.
Can't defend yourself under the terms of the Constitution.
Well, that's very similar to how it is in the UK, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Is it anymore?
We're denied in the UK. You're denied your constitutional rights flat out, for the most part. But you've got a loose protection of habeas corpus, but that's about it. That's left. That's about the only thing they give you. Every other constitutional right, they've steamrolled it over. Haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, I think that they've made it perfectly clear. I mean, seeing these
deny the existence of the British Constitution.
Yeah, I mean,
and have been doing so since the 50s. Stopped teaching it in the 50s, and they've been doing this. So now we've got generations of people who've grown up not learning about it and thinking we don't have one. And it's like, seriously, every country has a constitution of some description.
That's why they don't teach civics, isn't it? No, I mean, in the UK, Chris, I think they've made it very clear. They don't give a stuff about the people, subsequent governments. And this one, I just find it amazing how many people still, going around these so-called Brexit groups, reckon that Boris is going to deliver Brexit when he can't even deliver the border.
Yeah, the only way Boris is delivering Brexit is under duress, being forced by the US president to do so, and that is the absolute fact.
Exactly. That's right.
But that's the thing. The people trying to say that Boris is Britain's Trump, that's a load of bollocks.
No, it's absolute rubbish.
Foreign secretary that signed off on the British intelligence apparatus spying on Trump.
That's right, Pizzagate.
Including after Trump was in office and still doing the orders of the Obama shadow presidency.
That's right, shadow presidency. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone who thinks Boris is on the up and up is, I'm going to be really blunt here, mentally retarded.
Well, I call them morons, and then lots of people unfriend me.
Yeah, I'm a bit harsher, but
what. So what? If they do steal this election, and it seems to me that the main reason for them to do it actually is to stop Brexit, because they have to. They, as much as they want to control the US, they also need to keep the EU together. They need to keep whittling away at the British culture and all that. But if they do steal the election, then it's clear as day to me. Brextension. I know Brexit again. More may. If on the other hand, Trump manages somehow to secure the presidency, i.e. the vote rigging doesn't work, then it's going to be very, very difficult for Brextension, because the first thing Trump will do, completely the opposite to the first thing that Biden would do, he would say, yeah, let's do that deal. Let's do that trade deal, because he is an Anglophile. But from Boris's point of view, from the deep state's point of view, it's very, very hard then for them to deny Brexit on the 31st of December.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's going to be. It's one of those things. It's going to be there. But to be honest, I don't see there's any real chance of Biden winning. The half and half, and we'll nominate Pelosi. There's a slim risk of that. I just don't think they realise the silent majority, because we've actually had the silent majority proven. Sorry.
How many swing states do they need to corrupt? Because that's what it boils down to, doesn't it? Hey, Chris?
I've got to go.
Oh, okay. All right. You take care, mate. God bless you, Chris. Take care. I'll cut him off. He's got a call. Right, hold on. Oh, I'll cut him off a different way. I'll mute him. Right. That's it, folks. That is it. That is it. And I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, David Curtin. Big cheers to Chris and Timothy tonight, and for you lot. Keep talking, people. Keep talking. And yeah, that's all we can do. That's all we can do. God bless you. Have a good night. I don't know how to turn this thing off. I've got no idea. Might take a while. I'm going to have to kill the task, I think. Hold on. I'll just have a quick look at the comments, just out of interest. See if we've been going out. Amanda, see you tomorrow, Ollie. Thanks for a good show, Amanda and Eric. God bless you. God bless you both. It was a very nice pint of Bishop's Finger, by the way, in London on the 23rd of March, Brexit Day. There wasn't. What about you two? Hey, Lee Hollands. Hello, Lee. Hello, mate. Right. Nighty night, y'all. How many of you? There's 10 of you still on YouTube, and 5 on dailychaos.news. I didn't go out on Facebook tonight. I don't know why. Don't know what happened there. Didn't go out on Periscope, Twitter. Don't know why. Don't know what happened there. Didn't go out on DLive. Not that matters much, really. They're all gamers. I don't know why I go out there, really. Anyway, take care, folks. God bless you. I'll catch you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Ciao.